Hello my friends, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which as you've already seen is my December eyeshadow palette extravaganza. Can you believe this is it? This is going to be the last time we talk about eyeshadow palettes in 2020 because you know eyeshadow palettes are my thing, and so it will continue into 2021. But this was a year where I bought a ton of eyeshadow palettes, as if I didn't already have enough. But if you're interested in seeing which ones I picked up from this, or I guess this month, as if you, again, you couldn't already tell from the thumbnail, and just kind of real quick rapid reviews so that you know how they worked for me, then just keep on watching. All right, you guys, so technically I have 4 out of 5 reviews, but one I already know it's how it's going to perform. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Let's start off with Violet Voss Tie Die. I did do a review on this palette, a look, more like a look than a review, but you guys, wow, like neon to the core. If you are a fan of neon eyeshadow palettes, then this is for you. Now, some people love Violet Voss formula, some people not so much, and so it just depends on what boat you fall into, but this one for me is such a win. But I love neon bold eyeshadows. So I also love the Violet Voss formula. It can be a little bit dry as related to her mattes, but as far as her shimmers, they are super creamy. They feel like a cream, they are powder, but they are very thick. And that's what I find is the best for these formulas or for these types of shadows, because that's what makes it look the best on the eye. Very opaque, and this is consistent with her other palettes as well. So it's not like it's only because it's a bright palette. No, her other palettes really perform on par, and this is one swipe. I mean, where do you find a yellow that is that bright on one swipe? Not really very often. So as far as the mattes, they swatch funky as all her others do, or I find that all her others do. But quite frankly, they perform fine. There's a couple that are a little lighter than others, like this lime green, but I find lime greens to be super hard to find a very rich, opaque one. So overall though, I was very pleased with this eyeshadow palette, and I'm excited to put this one to use in the summer months. Now granted, we already know a ton of eyeshadow palettes are gonna come out from now until summer, but this is definitely one that I very much have enjoyed and want to keep putting to use. I've only used it a couple of times, you know, just trying to feel it out and gather my thoughts on it, but really now want to just really play. I'm not creative, so I feel like that one really kind of sparks a little more creativity than what I'm used to, which is nice. Okay, the next one is the Kylie Grinch palette. A lot of my viewers are not real big on Kylie cosmetics, and that's totally fine, I get it. But I am a fan of the brand. I don't buy everything anymore. There's pretty much all the collections this year were kind of a miss for me. I didn't even bother, but I knew that this was one that I had to pick up. So I knew based on the theming that I had to have it, but I also was pleasantly surprised by how well it performed. And I feel like with her eyeshadow formula, excuse me, it can be hit or miss as far as people obviously loving it or hating it. I mean, that's everything. But I found that I really liked it. And quite frankly, I mean, this is super cute. The little Grinch is on the mirror. When I first saw the stock photos, even when I opened the palette up, I was almost a little underwhelmed with how light I saw a lot of the shades. I was like, a lot of these are gonna look pastel. I was very pleasantly surprised with how they applied, how they built up, how they went on. And you know I'm a fan of her glittery shades, or her, like, these types of shades. I don't know what I'm trying to call them, but anyways, I'm a fan of those, and that for me did not disappoint, except I just put lotion on my hands and now I'm having trouble getting the swatch for you. So I'm sorry, but there's that one. And then let's give you a couple of the mattes. Definitely very Grinch vibes, and I also very much enjoyed her shimmer eye glazes. I did pick up both of those and have used them both love them. Like, to the point where when I first used it, the excitement I felt was like, this is why I love new makeup, because you never know what you're gonna get. And this one definitely worked for me. This was a total hit in my book. I can see why a lot of people wouldn't be a fan. Yes, the color story does look a lot lighter than what you would anticipate for being a Grinch palette. Like, I think this one is the Grinchiest of them all. This one's a little bit more of a mint pastel that you'd be like, why would that be in there? It seems like a darker green might be a little bit more appropriate. But overall, for me, it was a great purchase and I am very happy with it. So that's that. The next one is the one I am wearing on my eyes right now, and it was something I got for Christmas. It's the KKW birthday palette, but I don't know if this really has a name. I can't remember. I just remember it's the one that came out for her birthday. I love the packaging. This is new for her brand because usually she'll put like her picture on the cover or whatever. And this is like a very, what is it, holographic, iridescent. Who can keep these terms straight? Anyways, it's very, very eye-catching, and I'm happy that it's different from what I've seen before. I don't typically pick up her palettes anymore because they've become very repetitive, and so for me, it's like, it's a gentle pass for me. But this one really caught my eye because of the purple theming, and I do love me a good purple eyeshadow. Grape on my eyes is perfect. It's what I'm wearing, and ironically, today is the day that we are gonna go have our New Year's Eve dinner. We're gonna go a day early, one, to miss the crowds, two, because the fireworks freak the dog out so badly. So we wanna be here for him. But anyways, this is my palette of choice for my New Year's Eve look. This is what I'm rolling with. And yeah, I also was very pleasantly surprised with this palette. I was very gravitated towards the color scheme. Obviously, I've already mentioned that, but that can be one thing, and the quality and performance of the shadows is something entirely different. So I was very happy that they just, it was good on both topics. The quality and performance of these shadows is really, really nice. Especially when you work with deep shades like this, like you kind of want to do your foundation after because you get the fallout and all of that. Well, I have done my makeup before for the last like month or so, just because I like I like the process of that better, quite frankly. And this palette has given me no fallout, and it's very surprising. Like, it took me a couple of times before I was like, wait a minute, I haven't gotten any fallout, and I've been doing my foundation before. It's really strange because I expected it for sure, but no, really, really nice. And like I said, good quality. They're a little stiffer in the pan, so I'm assuming that is why. Here are a couple of the mattes. Here are a couple of the more standout shades. This one's the one all over my lid, which is, I mean, you probably already could tell it's this middle one. And in the pan, you'd say, okay, that might be more of a topper shade. No, it's quite opaque, like very surprisingly opaque. So that also made me happy because y'all know how I feel about topper shades. Yeah, that made me very, very happy to know that I don't have to put anything underneath to really get that one to stand out. So super happy with that one. Again, that was one of my Christmas presents that I had asked for, and I'm excited that I got it, and even more excited that I love it. So we've got a couple of palettes left. Next is this one is still in its box. I'm going to keep it in its box, but it's the Lisa Frank 35B by Morphe. I knew going in this was an existing palette in prior days that just wasn't sold anymore, and then they just kind of redid it and put the Lisa Frank theming on it. I opted for the unicorns because back in the day, this was the graphic of my Trapper Keeper. Y'all remember Trapper Keepers in the early 90s? Oh my gosh, those days seem so far away. I mean, it's crazy if you are like my generation. It's weird how you look back and you're like, that seems like a lifetime ago. The world has changed so very much. Imagine what our parents feel, but the world has changed so much. You see like young kids now, and like all they do is, they know how to navigate iPads and phones and this and that. And I'm like, I was lucky to navigate a Trapper Keeper. But they were almost simpler times, and my heart misses that. Anyway, so I digress. So this is the Lisa Frank 35B. It's okay. I was a little disappointed. I really thought that the vibrancy, what looked to be the vibrancy in this, would really show through, and I have not found that to be the case. I have found a ton of these to be lackluster, to need 3 or 4 layers. Like some of these satiny type shades, very disappointing to me. They swatch okay, but once you start playing with them, once I start playing with them, I guess I should say, because we're all different. We all have different opinions, you know, on how this stuff works, but I don't know. I was disappointed. I would say if you're looking for a neon palette, if you're looking for a bright palette, go the route of the Violet Voss Tie Die, because this one, yes, it comes with more, but it's underwhelming. It's disappointing. So they don't swatch too bad, but like I said, once I start putting them on my eye, I have needed to layer those satin ones 3 or 4 times. I'm not really crazy about the mattes. They go on a little bit more sheer than I'd like. And so for me, this was more about collecting it because of the nostalgia aspect, which I'm sure a ton of people, that's probably why most people picked this one up, is because Morphe totally played into our childhood, and that's how these ended up selling out, I think. So yeah, I say skip this one. Not the best option out there for a colorful palette by far. And that's my take on that. So last but certainly not least is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Hypnotize. Now this one I'm including in this video because it was a palette that I received in December. Now also, I do need to disclose, this one I did get end of November, but by the time I had remembered about it, I already filmed my November eyeshadow palette extravaganza. So that's why this one is in this video. My bad, guys. So this one is a December palette. I have not used this. This is the one that I mentioned that I have not used, but I have absolutely no doubt that it's going to be stunning, and I'm very excited to use it. I almost kind of wanted to use it today for New Year's Eve, but I really wanted the purple look going on. So anyways, the packaging, absolutely stunning. This is her holiday palette from last year, but it was still on the website. And I don't know if they brought it back or if it just has been up on the website all year. But based on this year's holiday palette, which was my very first experience with Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows, this is going to be spectacular. I'm sure of it. So I'm just going to give you a couple swatches, show it to you. Very different theming than this year's, which I'm happy about. But let's do this last little trio. Now, what I love about these is, one, they are absolutely like fabulously soft. It's the softest eyeshadow I've really ever felt in my life. And then there is an elegance about these eyeshadows that is, I don't know, it's hard to describe. They go on the eyes like absolute twinkle. I don't know, that's the only word that comes to my mind. There's a glow, there is a twinkle, but in a very soft, beautiful, elegant way that no other eyeshadow has given me. I'm such a fan of her eyeshadows based on the one I tried, and I am sold for life. So I did get this one in the month of December, and I'm excited to put it to use and add it to my small luxury collection. I'm not a luxury type of girl. I don't like paying luxury prices, and quite frankly, there's a lot that doesn't usually appeal to me luxury wise, but I don't know, here lately in the last few months, guys, I don't know what's happened, but I'm happy to add that to my collection. Okay, my friends, this brings us to the end of the very last eyeshadow palette extravaganza for the year, for the month of December. Not as many as in prior months, but definitely, you know, I mean, significant to add to my collection. Before I let you go, I want to give you a very quick verse of the day just to motivate you and encourage you, to uplift you. I forgot in the last video to put it up on the screen. I will put the telephone number up on here in case you need prayer, in case you are in a place that you're feeling lost, lonely, whatever the case. If you just need someone to talk to, if you need someone to pray with you, just use that phone number. It's free. There's no commitment. It really is just calling to talk to somebody, and if you'd like, have them pray with you. So I'm going to throw that number up here on the screen for reference. If I ever forget, and I've mentioned this before, I will, if I forget to put the number here, I will put it in the description box below. Before I let you go, Proverbs 16:3 is our verse for the day. And it says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." Who better to establish your plans, to plan out every second of your life, than God. He's the one who made you. He knows everything about you inside and out. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, his plans are good and not for evil. His plans are to give you a future and a hope. So trust him. Put your trust in him. If you are in a place of not wanting to trust anybody, if you've built a wall, a guard over your heart, I have been there. I know what that feels like. He is the one that you can trust. He is the one that will never let you down. Human beings, we let each other down. We're human. That is the case. And so you never want to put your trust in a human being, only in God. All right, my friends. Well, thank you again for stopping by and chit-chatting some eyeshadow palettes with me. I hope you had a good time. I know I always enjoy this time spent with you. I will see you in the very next video, my friends. So until then, please stay safe and stay well. Have a very happy new year. I love each and every one of you, but Jesus loves you so very much more. See you in the next one. Bye.